All right, in this episode, I am joined with one of the best retouchers I have ever met, maybe the best retoucher I have ever met in my entire life, and also the co-founder of verybusy.io, which is basically the best way to streamline communication back and forth with your retouching clients. Peter Hunner, commercial retoucher, high-end retoucher, welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing well. Getting ready for the holiday.
So you guys have been doing a lot. You are indeed very busy. You own a high-end retouching studio called Honey, correct?
Yep.
And for the last few years, you've been working on verybusy.io. So let's start there. What's Very Busy, and why do we need this in our life?
Yeah, so very busy. And I want to step back a bit just to talk in from my retouching background. You know, being a commercial retoucher, high-end retoucher, we're constantly talking with our clients. And when talking with our clients, some of the big things, and I think a lot of photographers and other retouchers out there could really, empathize with this, but there's kind of a dated way of getting feedback and communicating with the people, the stakeholders in your project. So as retouchers, coming up and experiencing those issues, we decided to build our own software that could really facilitate this and streamline this. One, we wanted to save money, we wanted to save time, and we wanted to give our clients a better experience. So, very busy. We built this. It's a very simple, kind of frictionless retouching review and approval platform. So anything pretty much during to after the shoot, your images will go up into Very Busy. You can cull, you can make selects. You go into your review rounds, making markups, comments, uploading comp files, all that kind of stuff that would go into like a retouching review. And you work through your reviews with your clients all the way to approval, and then you can deliver your final files.
So how are people doing this now? Because I remember when I was more on the retouching side of things, it was like WeTransfer and then like a long email of like trying to map out what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Or like a PSD that was like marked up by a creative director and you couldn't read his handwriting.
Oh, totally. I was like, I keep thinking like I should start a blog just with screenshots of like ways we've had received feedback. That along with this funny feedback we get that, But I would say, the thing that frustrated us most was, we did try other products out on the market, for a number of years, and some of them are pretty well known. However, so many of the collaboration stuff out there for, design, video, and they throw photography and stuff in there too. It kind of gets dumbed down to a way where it's kind of attractive to the masses in a way. It's not really tailored to a specific kind of retouching workflow where you work in rounds. You want to see your previous notes to compare against the new round, or you want an audit history that's easily accessible, but also just being able to really make quick markups and do these kinds of things. So when we come and we're building into our feature sets and stuff like that, we're looking back and seeing what wasn't working before. So some really common ones, of course, right now, Google Slides or PowerPoints and stuff like that, where a producer or an art director is dropping in each version and they're doing notes, and they'll do a numbered little list with notes corresponding with the markups, and they don't stuff like that. Or the emails where you're going to get a list in an email, numbered 1 through 20 with a description of what they want done to certain images, and then you got to match it, and it's hard to find the context within certain things if you're not really marking up on an image and letting them know where exactly things should be or be done. With markups though, marked up PDFs and stuff like that, it's kind of the same kind of issues you would have when marking up proofs and stuff, when you get that art director who has their own seems like language and they're just scribbling all over something and you're like, I don't know what this means, So, we're trying to bring back not only the convenience of really communicating and being able to interface with our clients, especially remotely and how things are working these days, but we want it to be clear and concise. We want things to be organized. The more organized, the more kind of back and forth you can have that's making sense. And, you're going to cut down on your review times. You're going to be able to get the feedback that really matters and that really makes sense. And like in context, the less emails you're sending back and forth asking, hey, what do you mean by this? Oh, screenshot of this. What does this mean? it's just going to be easier. It's going to go faster.
Yeah. So how has it, like, where's Very Busy today? I know you guys are rolling out new features. So who is this like really for, and like who should be using this?
Yeah. So right now, I mean, we built it for ourselves internally at Honey Retouch, our retouching studio. So definitely for retouchers. We also have photographers on the platform right now using it that are excited about it. So retouchers, photographers, small design shops, small internal creative marketing teams are using it. Where it really shines and what really differentiated us between some of the other products that are on the market and where we saw a need for this was, when we were testing out products, trying to find something for ourselves before we decided to create our own Very Busy. There is stuff on the market, but most of it is very tailored to more of an e-commerce high volume workflow that's more embedded in like an enterprise kind of software. Something you're going to pay an arm and a leg for and probably not use all the features if you're a small shop, if you're a freelancer, you're an individual photographer or something like that. So, aside from the e-commerce heavy, high output, we need to have merch tracking, sample tracking, all this kind of stuff. We wanted something very simple that really exists more in the editorial advertising world where, an ad agency, creative shop, a photographer, a designer, they're shooting, they're creating these projects, but, from there, you really are working probably with freelancers. You hired your photographer, you're hiring a retoucher. They're not going to be these internal teams working on every single project. So every week you could be working with somebody different if you're a busy person at an ad agency or such. So, we really wanted this to be something that people can jump into. You can send a very busy project to your retoucher. You can send it to an art director, and they simply log in and they know exactly what they need to pay attention to, what images they need to address, give feedback on, take feedback from. It's really laid out clearly. We try to make it as low touch as possible. So the barrier to entry is just simple, because that was one of the biggest impediments we had when we were trying to find other softwares. If it's too complicated to get into, it's like, oh, we need to learn another software. People aren't going to want to use it, especially people who are busy in our world. In the creative industry, it's, people don't have time for onboarding. So, I guess you could hold the feature, but it's a kind of one of the cornerstones that we built into Very Busy is trying to make it incredibly simple for anybody to get into and work within. So, we launched almost about a year and a half, it was 2 years ago. We started with beta, we rolled out of that, and now we've been last year especially developing into, as we gained our users and we're growing our users, we're taking feedback. So we actually have feedback.verybusy.io for when users are finding things that they want within the platform or they want improvements on something, they can log stuff there. And then we are always looking at that, seeing, hey, look at, they're uploading these things, let's pay attention here. Let's see what we need to do here to get these features implemented. So, we started with the basics. We wanted to make it incredibly simple. We wanted to be able to upload files, high-res files like TIFFs, PSD, stuff like that, and have it really render on the back end fast. So, workflows like you can upload your process TIFFs right from set. It'll throw up there. You can quickly look at them, start, rating them. If you're making selects, calling through them, making markups, it's a speedy platform. You're not going to have to wait 20 minutes for your uploads to render, then come back and look at them and wait another 15 seconds for this high-res image to load. Also, we paid a lot of attention to color, accurate color in this workflow, especially on the web within RGB workflows. So incredibly simple, fast, accurate color. Those were kind of the first kind of stepping stones out. There's kind of like a barrier to entry for these programs that you're going to be working with, and especially with our audience. We're very critical. We want to know exactly what we're going to see, whether it's in the app, if it's going to be on social, if we're going to go to print or something like that. So we have a very demanding customer, and we're very demanding on ourselves to build a product that will meet that expectation. So once we have this base layer, kind of this fundamentals of an app we think people would want to use, from uploading, downloading, being able to create folders, uploading folders, the typical things you'll see in file sharing or collaboration platforms today. Then we start niching down into exactly what's going to separate us apart and be really useful for photographers, retouchers, and other creatives working in post-production and retouching. Specifically, our markup tool. A big thing that bugged us about most of the other programs out there is you had to you had to click down in to make a comment, then you had to click again to get a brush, then you had to make it there, then you had to click back, you had to do all these clicks and things just to submit a comment. So for us, we built it, we solved it out where when you enter into an image into markup view, you can just start marking up and you'll mark up. And then without clicking anywhere, once you start typing, it automatically starts typing, switches over to you can give some context and write about whatever markups you did and hit enter and submit. Once you submit, you're right back. You can just start drawing again. You don't have to touch your any buttons beyond just marking up. You're not going to touch your mouse besides anything else. So when you're culling, when you're culling through images, let's say you're working on a lifestyle shoot and you've got 30 images to get through for a catalog or something. You're literally just, you can mark up, hit your right arrow, go to the next image, go right on to markup again, we try to make it an incredibly fast experience and not cumbersome. We like to use the word frictionless just in terms of getting into the platform and knowing what you need, but also when you're actually doing things, as low touch and as simple UI and good experience for our users that really streamlines something that I think a lot of people aren't really used to,
Yeah, I mean, it's been years since I've been a part of this very frustrating and very time-consuming process with clients back and forth at a commercial level when I was working with Rob. And holy cow, do I wish that we had something like you had. So I want to touch on something because I'm very curious about when you said color. Like if there's a lot of variables like my monitor, the client's monitor, sRGB. So how, if a client is viewing something and it's maybe too red because their monitor's too red, like what did you guys do?
I mean, so that's a huge issue. I mean, color is always going to be this thing where, I think one of the most frustrating parts of being a retoucher is, companies will spend a lot of money to get correct color. Like we're sitting here retouching something and getting color correct or color matching products, all this kind of stuff. And then you have like an end client, at a Starbucks in a glary, fingerprinted monitor trying to look at stuff on the laptop, and saying something's wrong. You're always going to have a different end user experience with digital, right? So phones, computers, any of that. Our goal is to deliver a file that's accurate. It's kind of out of your hands till then, unless, when technology changes and something comes up with a better way to manage all this. But from our standpoint, the best way we can manage our color going into this, being browser based, we're going to automatically go into like an sRGB workflow, which, you can also upload RGB. A lot of the like Chrome and these browsers will support RGB. So we're actually converting on the back end, and we use a client called Imagix, and that is actually converting a bunch of these files for these or into these color profiles for us. So say you're going to upload a large layered PSD that you've been working on that's in RGB. What we're going to do is we're going to process out a couple different versions of that depending on how we're going to be viewing it, but they're going to be converted over to sRGB and then uploaded to or appeared on our platform. So there's a couple reasons we do this. Is for the most accurate color and fidelity that you can get actually on monitor. There are some, you're going from RGB to sRGB, you are going to have some, it is a small color space, but for most of the time, except for a lot of the saturateds and like typical or some certain colors, it'll be a little bit different. But for the most part, you're going to have incredibly accurate color and know exactly what you're going to be getting. We're not just uploading regular files and slapping default profiles on them and having them show up. We've had a lot of comments from, actually, we were just going to post an update to our website. One of a user's favorite things about our website is the most accurate color she's had within a platform that was browser based.
That's amazing. You guys have done so much and have had so many updates and improvements to the platform over the last year and a half that it looks like Adobe made it, and like I say that because it looks like a $1 billion company.
We're small, but we're feisty, we're hungry, and we work in two week sprints. So every 2 weeks we're releasing new features, new improvements, new bug fixes. So we're moving fast, and we have an incredibly talented dev team, and and creative team. And you know we need to move fast. We try to as much as we can. We got some bigger features and improvements coming out that'll take a little longer, but that's like what I said. You know, we love hearing feedback because as soon as we hear it, we want to start planning for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for everyone that's watching now, and if you're watching the recording of this, up until January 31st, we are giving anyone and everyone that makes a purchase at proedu.com a 12-month trial to Very Busy. And this is something that they custom made just for the Pro EDU audience. This isn't just another offer that is available on their website. So if you want to really, demo the software, get an idea of how it works, and have a little bit longer than like a typical 7-day software trial, they're giving you 12 whole months. So Peter, thank you for participating in this crazy once in a year program. And we're hoping that we can get a lot of our retouchers, from Pro EDU and the community here over to you guys, so you guys can get even more feedback, because it's awesome that you guys listen to feedback and make those improvements, because not a lot of companies.
Well, totally. And, and you want to keep spreading, like how we're building this out, and Emily and I, my co-founder and I, and who also is the other half of Honey Retouch, we're in the program constantly every day. We're working on these things. We're working with our users. We have seen the difference it's made just with our company, just the amount of work we can take on now and stay organized and keep pushing through. If we have 6, 8, 10 jobs going at once, staying organized and staying on schedule and knowing exactly what needs to be done. And when you get feedback or when you have questions, all that stuff adds up. So once you get into the program and start really using it and understanding how it could really adapt to how you work, whether it's uploading, making selects, or just doing feedback, or delivering or ingesting files, once you kind of tailor to your own workflow, whatever that may be, seeing the difference, it could actually, the time savings alone, that's what I always try to say, we're priced incredibly competitive right now. And, the amount of time it can save you and your clients, getting things to market faster, getting them done on time, lessening review rounds, just because you have better quality feedback that's more in context with the images that are going. Having that one source of truth that you can guide your clients through. And for the most part, it's like your clients will appreciate that. I think sometimes it's hard for, not everybody's going to want to be on it. It's hard to change people's minds sometimes when they're in another workflow, or they're in another platform, or they're kind of dedicated to things. But we've had most, if not all, of our clients are using Very Busy with us, of course. And ones that don't are usually tied to another program, which a lot of the times as well, our contract with this program is up next year. Let's talk. So being that we're made this specifically for retouching, specifically for editorial photography and advertising photography, and it also fits into the e-com realm as well. People notice it once they get in and truly understand, wow, I was so used to using this, and it took me this long to do it that way, and I could do it this way now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what about for like someone like a wedding photographer that's delivering a large amount of files? Can they use it?
We've had some good conversations with some wedding photographers. There's a side of the wedding photographer side where it's like, do I want to give my clients? Do I want to open the door for them to give me feedback? Do I want to make my adjustments and deliver it to them just what I want? Great. But there are photographers, wedding photographers, even photographers like that, who want some feedback. They're giving passes on their images, so this would be perfect for them. Even if they weren't going to do the review process, to keep everything centralized, you can create a project, upload the images, and just send a view-only download link for them too. We have customers. We're not building this as a DAM, a digital asset management system, but people are using it like that, which I think is amazing, and we're looking into integrating more on that side and connecting with more popular DAM. But it's kind of one of those things. We've built it in a way where you can kind of make it your own, depending on how you work, what kind of work you're doing. If you're just ingesting or delivering files, or if you are doing full review rounds, large projects, lots of content, multiple shoot days, multiple shoot computers, you can organize it in a way and simply see what's happening kind of in real time and know on top of what everything's going on within your projects. So yeah, it's versatile. So I would say no matter what kind of photography you are, at least jump in and take a look at it, because I think there's definitely parts of any workflow that it could work very well for. If not only just getting you streamlined into how, we always talk about that one source of truth. Our end goal, not, and I don't think there's ever going to be an end to this, building up very busy, but a major goal, I should say, of ours is, as we are progressing here, I'm in the Midwest, I'm in Minneapolis right now. I know New York and the West Coast and far between, like 1 gig, 2 gig internet fiber is rolling out. People are getting access to these. Like I have 1 gig up here right now, and you can sync and you can upload files extremely fast. And soon enough, it's like, hard drives will be at the wayside and you're just going to be from set, just, uploading to the cloud, and people will share from that. And we want very busy to partake in that, where your RAWs or your process, whatever, is going to go into very busy, and those will just live there. And then from your actual, we'll call it the cloud hard drive from your shoot, you'll be able to do your markups, your notes, your revisions, all that kind of stuff will all be logged. It will all be, archived all within our platform. So you really only have to go to one place after the shoot to really get reviews, have your backups, deliver files, ingest files, and communicate with your team all the way until, archiving. So those are kind of our long-term overarching goals that we're kind of building towards. And, things change, there can be pivots, but, we're trying to streamline this whole workflow to get everybody into one place online that anybody can be reached from.
That's amazing. So if I'm hearing you correctly, will it get to a point where basically there's a working file, you double click, opens in Photoshop, make your edits, you save, goes back to the cloud, and it's never even on your computer?
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I mean, that would be the dream, because, right now, between working with other apps, if you have your Dropbox sync or any other sync stuff, and you have your local files or your cloud files, like for Honey, we actually work off Dropbox. It gives me issues sometimes too. But, so it's constantly syncing and backups and stuff like that. But the goal would be, we want things to be rolled into very busy eventually, where, yeah, there's kind of that one source of truth for a project. So, files aren't scattered everywhere, and, everybody's input, everything is organized in one place. And I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times as retouchers, 6 months, a year, 2 years later, we'll get an email saying, hey, we can't find the images. You still have these in your backup.
Yeah.
So, trying to remedy some of these things where, trying to build a platform where, just as much as, people are using Capture One these days, you walk into a studio, you're using Capture One. We want Very Busy to be built into something that's kind of like the no-brainer. Next thing you do from set is we go to Very Busy. And
yeah,
that's to the extent of the end of the project.
Here's a random question. What about On One? The only people that I've ever met that use On One are like the most advanced people I've ever met. There's just like I don't know who's using it still to this day. So like, is that something that you've ever used?
I've never used On One before, no.
But you know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. I haven't even looked at it in a while, actually.
I think it was Earth Oliver was the one that introduced. He's like, this beats Capture One, and I'm like, really? Yeah. Why doesn't anyone know about it? We are in no way.
It was interesting. It was interesting because we were looking at what did I come to? I'm trying to think of where I found this. I found this list of capture programs, and there was like 30 or 40 of them. Like, there's capture programs out there I never even heard of, and some of them are probably dead now, some are not. But I would say, I think Tether Tools has one. Is it Tether Tools that has one too?
Their own like software program?
Yeah. Interesting. I want to look now while we're doing this. But no, I think it's one of those things, with capture software. Capture One does so well, I think, is because they're constantly integrating new cameras and they can keep up with it. That moves so fast. New cameras out, you better have that ready to go by the time that new camera launches. If someone's going to have it and not be happy with it. But I'm thinking, I mean, I'm trying to think. You said on one. I'm trying to think of what else. There's Lightroom and stuff, but I guess in my track, I don't know many that are using Lightroom these days.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know why they've never figured that part out, but it's always been.
yeah, I've never been, I guess, a Lightroom user. I guess I was kind of brought up in Capture One back in the day when it wouldn't work half the time.
Oh yeah, I
But
remember.
I it's what I know what to do. When we get files as retouchers, 75% of the time they're EIPs, so we're gonna have to use Capture One anyways, to pull off the settings and process out. So yeah, I mean, I was just in LA. I was at Fin, Future is Now, little conference that had a bunch of vendors, and Capture One was there, and I was chatting with them. And like other companies like Frame.io has a native built-in integration with them now, and I was talking with them about that for Very Busy. So we're looking into stuff like that. That there could be opportunities there. Who's to say though that isn't any better than a hot folder that is versatile with all capture programs? I don't know. That's something we go to our users for and see what kind of demand is. And do you guys want a dedicated Capture One plugin, or do you want a hot folder that you can use Lightroom, you can use Capture One, you can use On One, or something like that? So
Yeah,
yeah. And people, I guess, will have their preferences too. I know back from my teching days, I know the preference of whether you were using Capture One over, well, at the time, like Hasselblad's, you can only use their capture program with theirs, Focus.
Focus. Yeah.
Sucked.
Oh, that thing was a piece of shit.
God damn. Oh my God, we did a shoot for, I think it was Purina, and they brought in this like big time animal photographer from Europe, and he had this setup. It was like he had like 4 Hasselblads tethered in sequence. So like when animals were jumping, he would catch them. And this was with like these Hasselblads and using Focus and
Firewire 800.
like half the time, like one of them wouldn't like come in and like,
yeah.
And of course the tech gets blamed. So I got.
Yeah, I was a tech in those days too, and it was like Firewire 800 on this like barely like new Hasselblad camera, and it was always an issue, and it was like, Jesus, relaunch constantly.
All this money, and it's not working right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's I think things have become a lot more stable. Yeah, I mean, the way software goes too, I mean, you get so many updates now. I mean, a lot of times if I'm having an issue with Photoshop or some Adobe product, I'll be like, I bet there's an update. And I'll go and there's an update, and it usually fixes what was going on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's moving fast. And I think that's an exciting part of it too. And looking into now, I mean, AI is like the big thing everybody's talking about now. And everybody's putting it in their product, whether or not it's applicable or not. Like somebody, God, who was it? Some products they put AI in, but it was like AI cropping, and it was more in like a commercial sense. And I was like, who? Like, I don't know. I would never use AI cropping, I guess, when it comes to a particular job. I guess if you're rendering content fast to the web directly and wanting just point of focus kind of cropping, great. But I don't know. There's a lot of AI stuff going into products, which I think they're just trying to catch the craze of what's going on right now and trying to get some of that hype.
There's a lot of stuff that's using AI that's not even AI, and it's like
I know, it's like been around forever. And I mean, AI has been around. I mean, stuff like this, a lot of this stuff's been around since 2015, 16, and it's just now it's being marketed, and people are understanding. Oh, that is AI. But along with that sense and what we're trying to do, we want to make people's lives easier when it comes to image review and approval. So, who knows? I think the sky could be the limit and what kind of use cases things could be, in terms of like, hey, what if you're setting up, profiles and kind of like design guides or brand guides, and markups are created for you based on parameters you set, or another big thing that we're looking into or that I'm excited about is kind of like an automated QA, Like, a big time suck now is, when we're as retouchers, we do our work, but you should always QA your work. You should always go back and look through it and make sure, masks are tight, you didn't miss this, all that kind of stuff. But what if there was a simple automation that, an AI bot that can go in there and say, hey, this mask doesn't look this, who knows? I don't even know how to make that kind of thing, but stuff like that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, I think we should get into the software if you want to show us how this works. We've been talking about it, but.
Let me see everything good. Let me size this a bit better so we can make it bigger. Okay. So I'm actually going to go back to here. So, when I was mentioning before, we want to make this incredibly easy for people to log into and get their clients into. A major pain point is getting clients to use a new product, right? Getting clients to make a new password, to make a new account, things they have to remember. The benefits we have with making an account this way is, a big part of a very busy is notifications and letting the user know when there's new markups, new approved images, and app mention, all these kinds of things. So our first step towards doing that is, just email password. That's all you need to do to really get started in your name. If you get invited to, when you invite somebody to a project, they can just click on it and it automatically just brings them to the screen. They enter their credentials, what password they want, and it brings them right to the project. It's incredibly simple. We also have single sign-on for most people have either a Microsoft or a Google address. So with the click of a button, you have a very busy account set up. So I want to keep on the topic of how we really built this to be simple and intuitive. A lot of issues with projects or other products we had, testing out and stuff in the earlier days was they get too complicated. And when they get too complicated, people don't want to use them. A little saying we always had was it has to be as simple as email. Otherwise people won't use it. They're just going to go back to email. So the most simple way we could figure about bringing this down is, we look back at Honey and how we organized ourselves when we were working. We talked with other retouchers and figured out kind of a consensus on how are people working. And overarchingly, people work in projects, right? They work on a project-to-project basis. So very busy is a project-based application. So logging in here, when you first log in, you're going to end up on your project dashboard. Project dashboard, any project you're invited to or you've created is going to be here for you. So you can see here, I have a couple of projects already made, real simple kind of thumbnail stuff. You can quickly see your role, your clients. I'll get into labels in a second here. But once you create your projects, this will get full fast. We also have a hidden tab here, which is technically like an archive. You can archive your stuff here. All your active projects will exist here. So let's dive in, and I'm going to hold off on some of the other stuff in here. I'm just going to create a project really quick and just show you how easy it is. So let's make sorry, Mike, I got a really clickety keyboard.
Old school.
Go PRO EDU demo.
You like it to echo off the walls.
Oh, I do that. It makes me sound productive.
Everyone knows when Dad.
No, totally. So really simple stuff. Let's do a project name. Let's do a kind of a start and end date to this project. Put our client in there. Now here's something more specific that we put in here based on retouching rounds. So you could either start at round 0, which would be like, hey, I'm going to upload the raw files, or I'm going to upload unretouched, just straight process TIFF files, PSD files, something like that. I'm going to start at round 0 because these are going to be our base image. So a lot of times this will be a great place to start. We have a lot of photographers or other creatives who, when they're going to invite the retoucher in, the retoucher doesn't have the files yet, they'll create a project, they'll upload the high-res files, starting at round 0, and then the retoucher will just download those files, work on them, then upload the next round. And then you could also start at round 1. So say you have a client, or you have somebody that maybe there was a treatment already done to these images from the photographer or something, that there's already been a pass or a round. You can default to start to round 1 and not from round 0. And then of course, depending on if you're part of multiple workspaces or not, you can choose where to build it. So let's start there. So you'll jump into here, and this is a basic project view. On the top here, we decided to do navigation based on breadcrumbs because, when working on your computer, whether Mac or PC, in your Finder window, everybody knows breadcrumbs. Everybody knows how to navigate via these. So you can see from home, we are now in our PRO EDU demo project. Very simply, you can upload assets, upload folders with assets. You can create a blank folder and upload to that. So you got a lot of options here of what exactly you could actually do. The nice thing though, beyond this dropdown, the most efficient way to upload stuff is to just drag and drop it to the browser. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to drag a folder here. So I'm just dragged a folder that had 27 high-res TIFFs in it. And you can see how fast this is. That uploaded about a half gig there. I'm going to jump into it here quick. So on the back end, we're processing out versions of our high-res files so we can quickly preview them. I already got my high-res file here that I can go through and take a look at. So kind of beyond being the simplicity of the platform, we wanted to make it fast. I think people get so impatient these days. And the faster we can make this platform, the less they have to wait to upload their images, get their images, preview their images, call them. Like I said, jumping in here, from these would be like the retoucher could go in here because these are high-res TIFFs and just download these and start working on them. But going from image to image, we want it to be fast. And we want it to be able to get in and take a look and really quickly mark stuff up. The other thing here too, I just uploaded a folder with images. You could upload 10 folders with images if you want. Say you had a bunch of shot folders. You could just throw them in here really quick. They're going to upload. They're going to maintain their full folder structure, just like you would, so you can mirror whatever was shot in your Capture One session or wherever. So very simple. And then beyond just having folders here, you could just do a project without folders too, and just upload, regular images right into the actual project. So you can use folders, not use folders. We have plenty of workflows that we've seen where, people will have a finals folder, a review folder, so they'll kind of separate out what's happening within the project based on folders. Or they'll have a folder for each set that they're shooting on, a folder for each day of the shoot. There's all different kinds of ways. You have the versatility of like how you would set stuff up on your desktop or on your PC, on your Mac. So it's nice that you can almost mirror hopefully what you have in your computer to keep things organized. So I uploaded some images here. Let's say this is a shoot we did. Just for kicks, I'm gonna delete these quick and just focus on this folder. So I uploaded my shot folder here. I'm going to rename this just shot folder so we know what we're looking at. We got a shot folder. Again, here we just have some simple right-click functionality here. We tried UI-wise to make this very similar to like you're just working on your desktop, on your actual computer. This is another kind of kickback to how we wanted to make this simple for your clients to get into and use. So whether it's they can use this little 3-dot menu, they can right-click for menus, they can drag and select assets, they can select multiple assets. We wanted it to be an experience where people weren't hunting for a way to do something. It was more intuitive, and it felt like they're just on their PC or Mac. So we have our shot folder up here. I'm going to jump in here. So let's pretend I'm the photographer. So these are the stuff we shot. I uploaded it here. I can go through now and I can start making notes. But before that, I'm going to actually invite some people to the project. So when I start making notes, they'll start getting notifications and letting them know that I'm actually making notes. So I'm going to invite some collaborators. I'm going to just invite myself. How about? I'll be the retoucher for this project. You can type a message in there if you want. So they're gonna, whoever you invite to a project will get a little email saying, hey, so-and-so invited you to a project. Enter here. I'm gonna send that off. And as you can see, I already had an account on my other one. So my little avatar showed up here. It shows that I am here in the project now. So anybody who's added, you'll see their little avatar here.
Cool.
And you can always go back and manage those, whoever's in the actual project. Let's talk about marking up, kind of one of the most basic main features of this platform. Like I said before, we wanted to make it incredibly easy. So I just quickly entered this image. We have hotkeys that we really modeled off of Adobe. Everybody's familiar with Photoshop, Illustrator, all those things. So, from spacebar to kind of pan images, Control Command plus minus to zoom, Control Command 0 to go full frame. We also have controller command, depending on what you're on, like 1, 2, or 3. So you can see down here in the bottom, we have labels. So you can quickly go through, you can quickly, call images and add labels to them if you want. Like if you're going to make selects or something like that through a large batch of images. So jumped in here quickly. I'm going to zoom in quick and just start marking stuff up. So again, I'm just going to do these just for fun. So I circled those. I'm going to say tone down reflections. Let's spell correctly, huh? And I'm just gonna hit enter, and my markups with comment is there, and then I could just go on and start making my next ones,
Nice.
Tone down highlight. Yeah, we'll go on spelling. Can you hear my daughter in the background?
Tell her to tone it down.
I know, right? The poor girl's homesick from school.
Oh, that's the
yeah, so you can see quickly, you can get in markups, get some context via text, and go on to the next one. The other nice thing about this, and this is something that we brought in from being retouchers, is, the fact of, like, let's say somebody was in here and zoomed all the way down here and they're like, hey, let's make this a lot smaller. Let's get rid of this little tiny, whatever that is there. Let's just say, like, they're like, hey, remove. Now, when you're zoomed out, that's like impossible to see. It's like, where is this one? I can't see it. But if we click on it, it automatically zooms in for you. So you can see exactly where that little markup is. So you can see here, as I go markup to markup, it's going to frame it for you. So you know exactly what needs to be addressed. It frames it and it highlights it for you. So we have some markups in here. Some other really useful things we have is you can attach files. So let's do this. You can either, I guess, common stuff for this is you can attach color swatches. You can attach up to a gig file. So you can attach, say, an art director made some mock-ups or made a comp that they want you to follow. They can upload that PSD here, that TIFF here, whatever composite file they have. They can upload it here. It's a random thing here. You can upload up to 3 files up to a gig each and submit. So, your retoucher can have either, reference files, color swatches, comp files, anything like that. So directly related to a markup or comment. And then other main features that are pretty typical nowadays, but you can, at mention whoever you want. And when you at mention someone, they're going to get a little in their notification digest that they get. They'll just get a little highlighted link that says you can click on it, and it'll bring you right to that comment that they made and mentioned you, and so you can address it. So we have some markups, we have some comments. I attached a file. Let's say this one's good to go for round 1. I'm gonna go back to here. So back in this view, let's talk about thumbnails now. Let's see if I can zoom in here on my browser a bit so you guys can see better. So as you can see here, here's the one we just marked up. Back in our project folder, now you can see we had 4 markups in there. We have 4 unresolved comments, is what it's going to tell you. So once these start going down, once people get in here and say I'm the retoucher and I'm in here I'm seeing that, okay, Peter made some markups. Looks like is ready for me to start addressing these. I'm going to go through and address these markups as a retoucher. If this is the first round on of files left, I can go through and I'll download the original file and can start working on it. You can bulk download in the project view as well. I'm going to go through, and every time I address a markup, I'm going to resolve it here. Resolve. So let's say I addressed all these. When I come back here, you can see I have no more open comments. So, as a retoucher, if I'm jumping in here, I can quickly sort by unresolved comments, and any unresolved comments will come up here first. So I know exactly where I need to start working. But I have no unresolved comments there right now. So let's see, how did I know? New activity is what I had that sorted by. So let's jump back in here. So those are all resolved. A lot of people, you can use labels however you want. We have 3 predefined ones: select, in progress, and pending. However, you can make whatever custom labels you want. So this gives people so much versatility in how they use these. Some people use it for status updates on images and products or projects. You can use it to designate a certain retoucher to work on something. If you have a couple of different retouchers working on something, like I can make a label for myself. And so if, say, I'm a retoucher among many in here, I can just go in here and I can actually filter by that label. So I'm like, these are the images I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be working on these right here, my Peter labeled ones. So along with that, back to the thumbnails, being able to create custom labels is so versatile and such a nice way to organize projects, but still be able to adapt to different workflows for different people. And of course, you can see the hotkeys here too. So they go all the way up to, I believe it's Control 9, 10 or so. So when you're looking at these,
You didn't make it go to 11? Come on.
I know, right?
You had 1?
Actually, I'm pretty sure it's a 9 because I don't know if you can go Control 1, 0.
Yeah.
But so like I can even, like, if I make my things really big here, I can click on one and hit Control 1. Here's a select. There's a select. And get rid of it, I just hit it again. So easy ways to cull, label images however you want. Obviously here we have our round tracker. So whatever current review round you're on, you're going to see it clearly right here. So these are all round 0 because I haven't uploaded any new versions yet. You got your file name, you got your last updated right here. And then of course, we already looked at the unresolved comments. Now, this last updated, we also have, and maybe I'll switch over to my other account so you can actually see some of the notifications, but we have notifications here also. So if there's a new markup, new comments, new round uploaded, there's a little text, little notification here that let you know that on each image. So let's go back in here. So as a retoucher, I went through, I resolved all my comments. I have a new image I want to upload. How are we going to do that? Well, we have kind of the default stuff in here. You can click the add round button, but again, the easiest way to do adding any assets at very busy is drag and drop. So I'm just going to drag and drop my new one on here. Oh, whoops, I dragged the wrong file. I want this one. Oh yeah. Oh, whoops, sorry. Am I dragging the wrong file still?
That looked like it was
sorry.
Intentionally. That's kind of nice. If it's the same exact name, it will tell you, hey.
Yeah, it won't let you overwrite certain files. So I was uploading a different file with the default name of this before that was already in the project. That's why I wouldn't let me do it. So I'm actually uploading the correct folder right now, which I just did.
You guys thought of everything.
Yeah. So if I'm going to do this as a batch, actually, just to show you guys how cool this is. So I can upload that one file just like that by dragging it into the markup view, or simple in here. In project view, as long as it has the same file name, it will add it as a new round. But like I was in that markup view, or if I'm in another image and I'm trying to upload a file that has the same file name that's not that image, it won't let you overwrite it. So let's say I worked on this image. I uploaded a new round there, but I'm actually going to delete this one that I just did. Delete the last round. Just so I can show you this here. So I have this whole, let's say I went through and did all the notes for this whole project. And I have 27 images to update now. I'm going to upload new rounds. I am simply just going to go and get my new images. And I'm just going to drag them and drop them on here. And as you can see, as they upload, since they have the same file name, they're automatically being stacked on top of the round 0 file, and they're being labeled round 1 now. So, you know, these are high-res TIFFs I'm uploading again. You know, they could be medium-sized JPEGs, or they can be whatever you feel like you want to do. So I just updated 28 rounds just in a couple seconds there. They're all correctly stacked. They're all still maintain their file names. You know, there are workflows. You know, I know certain retouchers, they'll append, you know, like an R1, R2, R3 on their working files. So we are looking at a feature where it's more called like an advanced upload, where you can omit the appended text on an image file and still match it up. So we have features like that coming for more versatile uploads for different workflows.
So were these labeled the exact same thing? And then,
yep, so these are labeled the same. These have the same file names.
So how does it know it's a new round? Just the date created?
Well, because being that it was the previous round, so like let's jump into, where's a good one? Let's look at this one. The previous one we had, it just automatically knows. If I see another file by the same name, it's going to be the next round. Now that's why we had the error before. If you are in another image and you're trying to upload an image to that new image, like, because if I was going to upload something here, it's only going to apply it to this image right here.
Yeah.
But in project view, being that it's ingesting all these images, it's going to try to match all the file names together. So that's why it'll just update it automatically if it has the same file name.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah. So let's go back in here. So as you can see here, a couple things changed. We are no longer in round 0. We are in round 1. So we have round 0 here, round 1 here. Actually, let's go back to where I had markups. That will be a much easier one. Yeah. Okay, so here's our round 0, where if I go to show all comments, you can see here's all of our old comments here. I'm going to go to round 1 now, which you see we have no new comments on. I'm going to hide or resolve comments. So if I flip between here, you can see there's a little bit of a difference. We took some stuff out, we cleaned it up a little bit. A really fast way, we have our little toggle before and after right here. You can do Control-Command-B. So if I zoom in here, I can do a quick before and after and see exactly what was done.
Oh, nice.
You know, I'm not going to make any markups right now. So we get the before and after. You can go back and quickly see, you know, okay, here's the new image, but I want to see all the notes that were addressed. So I have the old markups on the new image. So that, along with I can hide the markups and do before and after. You know, you have a lot of control to see what changed in this image, what was previously marked up. Did everything get addressed? Was it addressed to my liking? Yes. So let's go clean this up a bit. Back there. So for all these now, we have our new rounds quickly uploaded. So when this happens, I'm going to, let's do this quick, 1 second. I'm going to log into my other account so I can show you what notifications look like, because it's kind of cool. Give me 1 second here.
So while Peter's doing that, if you guys want to demo Very Busy, go to verybusy.io. If you want an entire year for free, make any purchase at PRO EDU, and you will have the entire next 12 months to use Very Busy with your clients.
Heck yeah. I mean, man, 12 months. Did we really do that?
No regrets.
No, it's great. I mean, and the thing is too, like, we do have a free trial. It's 30 days, but when people jump into this, it's not like they always have projects going on, maybe, or they don't have specific projects they want to jump into this right away with a client. Maybe they want to experiment with it first and that. So, we do try to give them a decent amount of time to trial it, but at the same time, having a full year to find the ins and outs, and within that full year, I mean, we got a lot more stuff we're going to be releasing feature-wise too, so you'll be able to see the development as we progress as well. And hopefully you partake in letting us know what you want to see in the app.
Yeah. And then people can
feature-wise,
finally stop using the final underscore final, definitely final this time.
And hopefully we can find, yes. Okay, so I'm trying to see what the easiest way to switch screen is here. Oh, I see. I'm going to share this quick. So when you get invited to something, you're going to be getting emails like this. So you've been invited to join this. Your client would then click on Go to Project. If they don't already have an account, they're going to be asked to put their name, their email, and a password they want for their account, and then it's going to bring them directly into the project. We do have some quick, if you guys hop in for your first time, if you sign up, you'll see quickly we have some quick kind of some UI kind of not tutorial, but like walkthroughs of each screen. So when you drop into markup view, it'll quickly show you around the tools. So comfortably, you'll know that your client will see that. So they're not just like dropped into the project and like, what do I do now? We have a little tool that will kind of show them, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. I'm going to switch to a notification one here too quickly. But I'm not going to show you guys my whole inbox. Let's do.
Is it a nightmare like my inbox?
Oh my God.
Like
I'm almost at inbox 0.
89,000 unread messages.
What?
I mean, it's a lot. No, yeah, more than that. I have more than 100,000. I also have a lot of email addresses that.
Yeah.
I need to work with my therapist on this.
Good. Okay. Oh, here we go. We're up on now. So this would be a typical kind of like notification you get from Very Busy for projects. So here you can see, sorry for the weird colored texture, it's the previous chain. It lets you know, hey, in this project, this one I have a reply to one of my comments. I can click on this and go directly to that comment. And then I have 2 more markup comments. And this one, I have a new 12 new assets were uploaded. So you can see here, you'll just get this chain. And that being said, you see, I have multiple emails in there, and that is because when you have notifications in Very Busy, you can choose what you're going to get. So whether it's in app, our little bell icon up here, which I'll show you in a second, or by email. And one of the pain points we had with some other apps was that they would send you like a notification for every single thing that would happen in that app. So it was like somebody put 30 markups in, you'd get like 30 emails. It wouldn't like pack them into digest. So we pack them into digest, which you can either choose to get that digest every 15 minutes, once per hour, or once per day. And you can choose what you have in it. Like I want to know when somebody comments, when an asset's approved, user joins, stuff like that. So you'll get these simple, manageable kind of like overviews of each project at those certain times, at those certain time intervals, however you set it. So that notifications, that's what we have there. I don't really have anything in here right now because I already looked at everything, but when you have notifications in these panels, we actually, I'm showing you this now, but we have a newly designed notification panel coming out, I think in 2 weeks, in a month, maybe somewhere like that. But we've been meeting with users, getting feedback, and we have a much more streamlined notifications panel that really helps give you kind of a really nice overview of what's going on in each project, but also dive down deeper into find exactly what you need. So on top of that, we had notifications. We talked about labels. I showed you guys uploading. Of course, you can download batches too of things. You know, basically any of the standard stuff you see in a collaboration platform is already built in here as well. Another feature people like, let's go to here.
And are there any file types that don't work? I mean, there's a million different file types.
Yeah, so I mean, we do get this question. You know, we're focused on image-based stuff. So you know, TIFFs, PSDs, PSBs, JPEGs, PNGs. You can all upload. We even support GIFs. You can upload GIFs. You can upload raw files like NEFs, CR2s. It's still kind of in beta right now. We're still trying to figure out the best way to get those processed correctly for color. So you can upload those, but it may be hit or miss depending on what kind of raw file you're uploading. But you know, any of those other ones, you upload them, they process out greatly. We don't support video. You know, we've gotten that request here and there, but for the most part, you know, people that are using this, they're locked in on their photography workflows. We have a documents tab here. So, I mean, you can upload, you know, doc files, text files, you can upload PDFs. They're all kind of separated out into this documents section within the project. You know, since we also introduced, you know, we had implemented this documents tab before we rolled out folders. So right now we have a documents tab. Depending on what users are thinking, maybe we'll get rid of it and you can rely on folders for documents if you want to organize that way. But for now, we're going to keep it. But yeah, so that's the gist of it. But you know, for the most part, I would say 75% of the people on the platform are typically uploading JPEGs. TIFF is the next popular one that's being uploaded. But like I said, you know, PSDs, PSB, I mean, you can upload a, you know, 3 or 4 gig PSB that's layered here. And it takes a bit longer to process, but, you know, we can do it. Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I can't think, I've been trying to figure out what are the new features you're coming out with, because it looks like you guys have covered.
I mean, we got the basis down, you know. I can tell you right now, a hot topic that's been around and we've had some upvotes on our feedback form was we're going to start introducing like a crop reference tool, a line and arrow tool, some more tools to draw with. So it's not just a freehand draw, but we will have some structured drawing tools. Actually, let's do this.
And then is it possible, I don't know much about how Adobe allows softwares to integrate into Photoshop, but can you know, is the goal to integrate this into Photoshop so you don't have to necessarily download?
Yeah, so I mean, integrations we've been talking about integrations quite a bit. And yeah, you know, like we could make, especially with their new updates to their plugin dev stuff, you know, we could make, I mean, there's some other apps out there, you know, like they have a panel that can come out in Photoshop and show you information from, you know, their online software, like if you have comments or stuff on certain files. And I think that could be very robust and give a lot of value, especially to, say, retouchers. You know, right now we're trying to prioritize, you know, exactly where some of the major pain points are. And one of them hasn't really necessarily been that we've been hearing, you know, having a Photoshop plugin per se. There is the one we're hearing a lot of is getting assets on and out of Very Busy. So, hey, can I send stuff directly to Very Busy from Capture One, from Dropbox, from my DAM, from, you know, whatever. And then when you have final approved files and they're uploaded to Very Busy, hey, can I offload those directly to my Amazon bucket or to my, you know, my Microsoft Teams, you know, or SharePoint, I think is what it would be. So we're looking at those, but then also within, you know, softwares, you know, we're constantly thinking about it, and we know eventually we're gonna have to figure out some solutions for those. But right now we have prioritized some other in-app improvements, specifically around how is it going to be easier for people to collaborate with their teammates, but also freelancers, clients, all that kind of stuff. So you can see like updates to share links for folders specifically, advanced uploads. This is what I was talking about, where you can upload stuff. And even if it has a different appended file name at the end of it, we could still match it up and do review round updates. Also automatically applying labels to upload. So if you upload something, you automatically want it to have like a, I don't know, label. I guess it's an important part of some people's workflows that we've heard from. Accountless collaboration, being able to send being able to send a link to a client and not having them necessarily need to make an account, but being able to collaborate within the platform.
Nice.
Low touch stuff. Being able to select multiple filters. I mean, there's stuff here that's like, it's little things that can make a pretty big difference. It could be some big wins, definitely some more better raw support. From here though, we have such an incredible base right now, something that really streamlines this whole process in the review and approval process. Something that works a lot better than any other solution out there, especially for those who are working with other freelancers, with other teams. We have we're getting a lot of users from larger corporations that, they want to use this product more, but we have to go, they're trying to get us to confront their companies, and we're getting contacted because they want us to go through the process to get, third-party vendor approved for everybody to use it in the company. So we're seeing the use cases come in for this, and people are finding, even though it's really specifically for onboarding, outboarding of assets, review and approval, and calling in selects, it's such a time-consuming part of the process, aside from just the retouching, that it makes such a big impact. I had a great conversation with someone last week regarding, the saying, do you want it, what is it, fast, good, or cheap?
Yeah.
And thinking about that saying, right? Fast, good, or cheap. Okay, as a retoucher, as a retouching product, fast is all relative to, like, let's make good schedules. Let's make a good schedule around what we know our capabilities are. But when it comes to cheap, how do we get cheap? Well, we could move faster, of course, yes. You could change deliverables, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the quality side of it, where are we gonna cut some of this out? And when it comes down to just saving time, saving time will save money. Being more organized, getting better feedback will produce better quality. So, there's certain parts of the process that you can really start to innovate on and really start to streamline and not take away from the quality of the retouching or the final assets and deliverables, but you can also speed it up, So, that's our main goal here. We want to make people's lives easier, especially when it comes to our specific process. It's so much stress and just this, I'm not going to swear.
You could swear.
So much stress and shit comes out of just like this process, especially when you're in post-production, everything kind of rolls downhill. So when stuff doesn't happen on set, when stuff doesn't happen in pre-production, it gets rolled down into post. And that's where the problem solving has to take place eventually, even if all odds are against you, right? So, as much as we want to get on top of it and be brought in pre-production, into the production, do all that, sometimes we only have control over what we're doing in our time period. So very busy is this one step to try and streamline that, make it as easy as possible, make communication as clear as possible, to really help everybody stay organized, less stress, create better product. And, it leaves time open. Hopefully it's opening up more time for you to be creative, to do those other things that you care most about. It can be very tedious work, giving feedback, getting feedback, and the less time you have to spend doing that, it's like, oh, you can be retouching, you can be doing other things that I think are more pleasing to do.
Well, I love it. Well, what I think we should do is we should separate and have you come back where you just talk about commercial retouching, because we're just a little over the hour point. I know you're probably very busy. So if you have some time in the next month, I'd love to really focus on your story and like show people more on the commercial retouching side and like really flex your skills with.
Oh, I would love to. Yeah. We got a lot to say about the retouching side of everything too. So.
I know. I feel like we could just keep talking for hours. So,
well, totally.
Absolutely love that. All right, let me. So we're gonna wrap this up. So, where can people go to follow Honey and also just very busy? We'll plug that.
Yeah, actually, you know what? If you head over to, not there. Let's go to verybusy.io. You will find all of our info there. There's links down there to our, I'd say we're most active on Instagram and LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, verybusy.io. Instagram is the same thing, verybusy.io is our handle. You can access them down there. If you want to send us an email, hello@verybusy.io. We love talking to people, whether a user or not. We want to hear from you. We want to talk with you. If you want a tour, a demo of the product, I can do that with you. If you have feedback, we want to hear it. But yeah, and also keep up to date on our blog. We just had a great post that, Emily and I were interviewed by Jeremy Campos about how we kind of went from our start in the industry to starting Honey and then developing Very Busy. But we have some awesome articles on here from some other really notable people on some great topics, and we have more coming too. So always check it on the blog as well.
Love it. Well, I appreciate you participating in the Photographer's Toolkit. If for some reason you're just now tuning in, you can get Very Busy for 12 months with any purchase at PRO EDU until January 31st. Definitely check out Very Busy. Start a trial right now if you just want to, get your hands on it and play with it now. And then just keep following Very Busy because they're out with a lot of updates. Awesome. Well, thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. And
thank
look
you.
forward to working with you again.